What is going on YouTube? It is Primitive here, and today we have some very exciting news to go over, and that is going to be that we finally, after all this time, got the announcement for Nationals. We have the format we're going to be playing, the tournament structure, the pricing, the dates, all of that, and we're going to be going over that right here. Now, this is something that I have been very excited for. I've been prepping very hard for this tournament, and now that we know what the format that we're going to be playing is, we can prep even harder. I know a lot of us do have our invites now from either the online regionals or the store championships that were going on, which we did have 2 rounds of, so there should be a pretty large amount of people that are going to be in these tournaments, just because the amount of invites that could be out. So it's going to be a very big and very competitive tournament, and so this is going to be something that if you are looking to get a big result in, you might want to start prepping here as soon as possible. Obviously, this is going to be in the EX1 format, and here in the States we don't have the EX1 decks yet, but you can start prepping by either doing proxies or playing on things like TTS, but this is something that you should keep in mind. But with that being said, let's go ahead and start talking about the tournament and the prizes. Now, starting off with the dates, we see here that for Europe and Latin America, the tournament will be happening on January 29th and the 30th, because this will be a 2-day Swiss to Top Cut event, and then North America and Oceania will be having it 1 week later on February 6th or 5th and 6th. Once again, 2-day tournament. Now, this is really interesting for Europe and Latin America, because since they are going to be the first tournaments, they aren't going to be having these big tournaments to look over the meta and try to warp their decks around that, as to where here in North America and Oceania, we are going to be able to look at the results of these tournaments, and what happens at these tournaments may be very shifting in what the metagame is going to look like for the North America and the Oceania tournament. A lot of people will likely be looking to net deck whatever does really well in the first set of nationals, and so make sure that even if you aren't in Latin America or Europe, that you are paying attention to these tournament results, because if you're playing in North America or Oceania, a lot of the decks that do well in those are going to be played in these other tournaments, because with it only being 1 week later, what the metagame is going to be based around is essentially these 2 tournaments. Now, looking at the prize list, we are going to be getting some very good prizings. Just for participating, we are going to get a participation playmat, 4 championship Tamer Evolution packs, which have fantastic alt arts, 3 event packs, and 3 of the event pack 2, which is a pack that we do not have access to yet. We will be able to have more access to it after Nationals in the 2022 season, but this is going to be the first event getting these cards, so whatever comes out of these packs are probably going to be pretty high in price, just because they are going to be fairly new from Nationals. But this is very exciting because this is new reprints, new alt arts that we can get. Now we go into the top 128, you're going to be getting your participation prizes. You're going to be getting 2 extra of each of the packs, so getting very good value if hit the top 128. Now, I don't know exactly how many players we're going to be having. I can only expect it's going to be probably 400 plus, just considering how many store championships and how many invites were given out through online regionals. So there's probably going to be a lot of people, so getting top 128 might not be the easiest task, but you are going to get very much rewarded if you do hit it, because the cards in these packs are definitely going to be very high in value. Now we start getting into top 32, which is going to be the big break point. This is where a lot of people are going to be wanting to hit as their minimum, because we are going to be getting the things that we got before, but we are also be getting the top 32 playmat, the top 32 memory gauge, an alt art gold stamp set of the event pack, and then we will be getting a 2022 Nationals invite. Now, a lot of people are thinking that this is the World's invite, but however, if you go down to the second and first place, you will see here that in here it says invitation to the 2021 English version of the World Championship Finals for first and second. So when we go back to top 32, this invitation to the 2022 Final Championships is not going to be Worlds, it is going to be the Nationals, but that does mean that if you hit top 32 in this Nationals, then going into the next format, you're not going to have to worry about it. You're already going to be qualified for next year, so you can just go ahead and start practicing, focusing on that, not worrying about trying to win a tournament or top a regional. Now, getting into the more tops, the finalist memory gauge, we will go and look at these memory gauges and these playmats that we're getting here in a second, and then the top 16 Greymon framed trophy card. Now, these framed trophy cards are absolutely amazing. Looking at the top 16 Greymon, you're getting this ridiculously crazy good looking alt art of the already amazing security attack +1 Greymon. We are going to be having third place getting the metal Greymon, which is just an absolute beautiful card, and then second place this war Greymon here. I don't know about you, but I saw this card and I almost shed a tear because it's so beautiful. These alt arts are absolutely looking amazing. And then of course, first place, they're going to get the champion Agumon Bond of Bravery. Now this is going to be an absolutely amazing looking card for getting a absolutely amazing placement placement at a tournament, not only are you going to be able to get the national champion title, not only are you going to be able to get one of these first place champion trophies, but you're also going to get these framed, probably one of a kind card. Obviously there will be one for each of the first place nationals, but with it being so low, there's really only going to be one in each of the regions, so this card is going to be absolutely amazing. I don't expect anybody to ever actually play this card because it's going to come framed, but these cards are so absolutely beautiful. This is one of my favorite things that I'm excited about. When I saw these cards, it really upped my motivation, because these type of prize cards are super cool to me. These type of very unique alt arts that are very aesthetically pleasing are something that I really like. Now looking at top 8, top 8 is a little bit underwhelming compared to all the other places, because if you hit the top 8, you're not going to be getting anything else special. You will be getting the top 16 Greymon, but you're just going to get 2 extra Tamer Evolution packs, which again are going to be very good. The cards in there are obviously very nice, very good alt arts, cards that have been very sought after up to this point. Now they probably will drop in price just because a lot of them are going to be coming into circulation with these packs, but they still are very nice. They are going to be good, and they're still going to be very good value. But now let's go ahead and get into the top 3, which is what everybody's going to be shooting for at the very minimum, if not the top 2 to get that Worlds invite. We're going to be getting the 3rd place playmat, the framed metal Greymon trophy card that we just looked at, the trophy, the alt art event pack stamp 4. So you're going to get a whole playset of each of the alt art gold stamp cards. You're going to get 4 more event pack 2s, which is going to be the new event pack. So you're going to be able to get access to a bunch of these new event pack 2 cards before anybody else really gets to them. Some more Tamer Evolution packs, and then 6 booster boxes. Now it hasn't been announced what booster boxes you're going to get. It will likely be the most recent set, which will be EX1 at that point, but maybe for some reason they will go into the future and give us some BT6 boxes, which would be very nice. But either way, 6 boxes is tremendous value. Then 2nd place. This is what we want. This is where my personal minimum that I'm shooting for is going to be. I very much want to be going to the World Championships. That's really my main goal. I've thought about this pretty much daily for months now about trying to get to this invite. So this is what I'm looking at for sure. You're going to be able to get the playmat, the amazing War Greymon framed card, a 2nd place trophy, which I can't wait to see, your 6 alt-art gold stamp sets. So not only going to be able to get a full playset, but you're going to be able to get that and some more event pack 2s, some more Tamer packs, 6 of each, which is ridiculous. 9 booster boxes, so almost a case for getting 2nd place on top of all this. And then of course your invite to the World Championships, which is probably the most important prize, the one that's more valuable than really all of this, because you can't put a price on being one of the 2 qualified for the region. And then 1st place, we're going to be looking at very much the same, the 1st place playmat, which is going to be the champion playmat, the champion Bond of Bravery card, your 1st place trophy, 2 more of each of these packs, and then 12 booster boxes, and then of course your invite to the Worlds. Now these are the memory gauges that we went over. They aren't exactly super crazy. You are going to be able to get this for participation. The top 32 are nice, and then the finalist one is one that I'm a big fan of, because I'm a big fan of both Blitz Greymon and Crest Garurumon. So these are very cool, but the all the memory gauges are very nice. They aren't the biggest things to me. We do get a lot of these other memory gauges from regionals and from the starter decks, and they are very nice, but they aren't anything too crazy. But being able to get these exclusive ones will be very good, and they will probably be worth some good monetary value over time. Next up, we get to look at these playmats, and I mean, these playmats are amazing. We're going to be able to get the participation playmat, which is super good. Being able to get the promo Agumon art, I always loved this art. Him holding up the card is super good, so being able to get this on the playmat is great. And then top 32, you're going to be able to get the Jesmon playmat, which is going to be one of the premier decks at this event, next to probably like Gabumon, Security Control, and potentially some Underdog EX1 decks. But being able to get the Jesmon mat is very beautiful. It does say top 32 straight on there, and I love having the placements on the mats. I've competed in many other games, and I've always loved the mats that have that on there, opposed to just saying regionals or whatever on them. And then we got the 3rd place mat, bringing back Ragna Lordmon, a card that has been away for a bit, but a very beautiful art and a very good Digimon. Gonna have the 3rd place right there in the bronze, keeping it very thematic to the Olympics. Got the Omnimon Alter S mat for the 2nd place, and this is probably my favorite mat of all of them. Now obviously the 1st place one is probably going to be the one that I want the most because it says champion on it, but this Alter S one with the 2nd place with the Blitz Greymon and Crest Garurumon on there is so amazing. I very much want this mat. When I'm looking at it, I see this mat and it is doing it for me. I am loving it. And then of course the 1st place champion mat, going to be having both the bonds, some of the most meta defining cards that we got from BT6. Gabumon going to be a very relevant deck in this this tournament. Bond of Bravery might be able to come through and push through depending on how Security Control comes in. If you're able to get some good advantages there, then Bond of Bravery might be able to come in. But looking at the mat, this is a very good, these are very good cards to put on the mat. I think it very much works with the time frame that we're at in the North America English card game meta, and so I love all these mats. I think they're very nice. No matter which one of these you get, they are going to be very, very nice mats. These are some things that you might want to take care of because I don't know if we're going to be able to get these mats with these prints on them ever again. We don't know what the future nationals are going to look like or if they're going to be available anywhere else, and since they have the 2021 stamps on them, even if we do get them back, they won't have the 2021 stamps. They will be 2022 stamps, but likely going to be getting different alts going into the future once we get new cards out. They won't be the current meta like Jessamon and Agumon, so these mats are going to probably be very limited, and obviously, like I said, they're very beautiful, and I'm looking forward to doing my best to try to snag up as many of these as I can. Now, we talked about the pricing and all that, so how's the tournament going to work? Well, if you've played in any of the previous tournaments, it's going to work very much the same. We will be playing in a Discord server. You will be going to your table number assigned to the table that you're at and stuff like that, so that is most of the stuff that most people will be playing in. If you haven't played in any online events like regionals and anything like that, you can play in smaller events run by smaller grassroots tournament organizers just to get the feel of how an online tournament works. I definitely recommend that if you haven't yet, so that way you don't go into it just kind of being a little bit confused on how to set up your matches, how to report and all that. But looking at it, we are going to be having something that is very, very important, and that is going to be Top Cut matches on day 2. Now, we have been having online regionals and all that, which are going to be just Swiss until we have one undefeated player without any top cuts, any day 2, and anything like that, like we see in a lot of other card games. But here at Nationals, we are throwing that out the window. We are going to be having a Swiss tournament with day 2 top cut, which means that unlike in regionals, you can take a loss, you could potentially even take 2 losses and still be able in contention to win the entire tournament, because even if you make it to day 2 at the very last seed of top cut, well, you'll still be able to win your way up to first place. So this means that you do have some room for error, you do have some room to brick once or twice, which is something that's going to be very important in a card game. This is something that we talked about on the Delicate Plan podcast just a little bit, about how when you play these big tournaments that don't have Swiss to top cut, when you brick really hard one match and lose that one match and lose your ability to win the whole event, it's very demoralizing and it's kind of hard to play with that kind of pressure. But now you are going to be able to get away with one loss, so that way even if you do have one unfortunate round, as long as you're playing your best, win out the rest, you're going to be able to make it to top cut and fight your way for first. Pretty standard here, going to be a best of 3 with 50 minutes. This is very important to know that it's 50 minutes, not 45 minutes and not an hour, because the 50-minute time limit is going to be very important, especially since a lot of people may be considering bringing Security Control to this event. A lot of people like Security Control into the Gabumon matchup and into a lot of the new EX1 archetypes that are going to be coming out, so it's definitely a deck that can be seen a lot. I think it might be held at bay by the Jessamons that are going to be running around, but with that being a thing, with 50 minutes round allocated, you need to keep that in mind, because if you're playing against a Security Control, you need to try to keep the pace up. You can tie. Having one tie is going to be a million times better than having a loss, but the thing is you probably want to try to win if you can over being the tie. So when you're playing your games, make sure you're watching the timer. You will know when the event time starts. They will likely be having a timer going as well that you can have pulled up to know the time, know exactly when the round ends for everybody. But make sure you're keeping that in mind. Make sure you're pacing yourself, so that way you are being able to complete your best of 3 match in the 50 minutes and try to avoid ties. Now, also, this is something that you can play on the reverse end. If you are losing, you can try and go for the tie. Now, just keep in mind that with this being Nationals, a lot of people are not going to be okay with slow playing, so don't try to take advantage of this. In slow playing, you definitely will get called out on for it. You will get a warning, and if you get caught doing it multiple times, you might get dropped. So the 50-minute round timer is both good to keep in mind for both those sides, but just make sure that we know that this is not a 45-minute timer like it has been in other times. It's going to be a 50-minute timer, and that 5 extra minutes is actually very, very huge, because that could be up to 2 or 3 more turns in a game before going to time. Now, I figured we'd go ahead and look at the new event pack, because this was announced with it as well. These are going to be the event pack 2 cards, and there are some ones that I'm sure a lot of you are looking forward to. We are going to be having some staples in many decks, such as the Sound Birdmon and 3 Musketeers, Mechanorimon in pretty much every black deck or 3 Musketeers. We have the yellow cards, which I'm very excited about. We have Upamon, one of the best eggs, Bushi Agumon, a card that will probably be relevant for as long as being able to drop rookies for free is relevant, and then Starmon's a card that will be relevant in every yellow deck that really tries to go wide, or any rookie rush style deck, and so being able to get these alt arts are going to be very good. We are going to have some Gabumon and Agumons, which are not as relevant in the current Agumon and Gabumon list, but they are still very nice. And then we do have the Jessamon alt art, which is going to be what a lot of people are looking for. We had the Lord Nightmon alt art in the past, which was being the kind of premier card you could get from out of here. Jessamon is going to be just like that. I could only imagine that Jessamon's price is going to be absolutely crazy, just like the Lord Nightmon was, but even potentially higher, because Jessamon is going to be a little bit longer lasting than Lord Nightmon. So this will be a card that's going to be useful for a lot of time to come. As for Lord Nightmon had its one meta, it may come back in the future, but not like Jessamon will. So this is going to be a very, very nice card to pull. And then we just have some other nice cards that you could put in your decks here. We have the Argomon, if you like that. You have the Toy Agumon with Reboot, a good staple. The Impmon, which is a card that's very good in Three Musketeers and also might be used in the future Beelzemon builds when we see the EX2 Beelzemon cards be coming out. And then Anubismon, a card that a lot of people talk about. It's not the best card, but it is a card that if you can get it to work, it will be nice. So if you ever have a deck where you're teching in Anubismon, you can't get these cards out. Well, that is going to be it for the Nationals announcement. I just wanted to go over this because this is something that I have been looking forward to very much myself. I'm sure a lot of you have been looking forward to and wanting this information as well. Now that we do have this announcement, now that we know that Nationals is just a little bit over a month away, I will be doing a bunch of live streams. I will be streaming almost every single day that I can. I won't be streaming on days that I have locals, most likely, because I will be probably doing in-person practice with some of my testing group, but other than that, I will be doing a lot of streams, a lot of meta analysis and all that. So if you are interested in watching my practice for Nationals, all my prep with all my testing group and the people in my Discord, be sure to check out for the live streams that I'll be having live here on YouTube. But with that being said, I hope you have a great day. Peace out.